What's up mga ka-BasketBros? This is our launch premiere episode for our first ever podcast together with the one and only my guy, Hoopjunkie. Hoopjunkie, what's
bro,
up?
Thanks bro.
What's up? Finally came together. Natuloy din natin to after a few weeks of planning. Two basketball minds really wanting to just share what's inside of our heads, our minds when it comes to the sport of basketball. Kamusta bro?
Ayos lang bro. Ito, Sunday. Excited
Sunday
na ako
chill?
bro. Medyo mainit mga topic natin.
Oo nga eh. So like, siguro bigyan lang natin ng brief background yung mga tao on what they can expect dito sa BasketBros. Like what I said, two guys with different perspectives but who really love the game so much. There'll be a lot of intense topics, a lot of arguments, hot takes.
Yan.
Much as possible, no filter, I guess, into the dimension of our world, no? At kilala naman natin si Hoopjunkie, really spreading the word when it comes to basketball. Highlights, lowlights, bloopers, and everything else under the sun pagdating sa basketball. Nakikita natin yan sa page niya. And we're just bringing it together here sa BasketBros. So sana ma-enjoy nyo tong pod namin together. I'm shooting all the way from Japan. We will bring in as much topics as we can per episode, and talagang magdadala pa tayo ng mga guests. Sometimes we'll get people from our viewers na makisali sa atin, na magbigay sila ng insights nila pagdating sa basketball. And without further ado, pag-usapan na natin yung unang topic natin today, bro.
Yeah, let's jump in na. There's
nothing else more to talk about, especially it's our first podcast. Hopefully the people are just as excited as we both are into launching our first episode. So we'll just talk straight into it. Hindi pa actually siya tapos kasi may ongoing game pa, but the recently held EASL tournament here in Japan, in Utsunomiya, and also in Okinawa. The champion teams of the KBL, in the league in Taiwan, B-League, and of course the PBA all came together here in Japan to play in one pocket tournament that really showed, the talents of Asia, together with a lot of world-class talents as well for the imports. So pag-usapan natin yon, bro. Like it was a good experience for everybody. Not only viewers but also obviously the players as well. A different type of basketball, taking a break from the usual leagues that they play respectively in their countries. Tapos ang dami nating nakita, ang daming highlights, ang daming mga pangalan na nagpasikat. May mga first timers na nakita natin, like si Carl. Dito yung unang debut niya dito sa EASL, nakita natin in a Golden Kings uniform. A lot more exciting stuff from, let's say, the lessons that each team, each player got from playing alongside their Asian counterparts. So ikaw bro, like how was your EASL experience watching the games, the Philippine teams, the Korean teams and the Japan teams, and the Taiwanese teams as well?
I love the EASL, no. It's a unique tournament where you get all the champions from each league. Tapos,
don't forget pala, bro. Sorry, kakat kita. Hindi ko nabanggit yung Bay Area. Yung Bay Area pa pala kasali.
Oo, Mother League nila.
Pa pala kasali, oo.
So yeah, yung tournament na yun, it's a great way para masukat yung mga teams. Kasi syempre, international tournament, you have champions from each local league. So, once na naghaharap sila dun sa annual tournament, nasusukatan yung mga teams and nalalaman kung ano yung status nung mga nangyayari in each leagues.
Oo, totoo yan. Kasi makikita natin yan, di ba? Syempre, I would say with KBL, with the Taiwan League, hindi ko alam kung P1 ba or T1 yung sa Fubon Braves tsaka sa
P-League, bro. P-League.
P-League.
Yeah.
P-League, di ba? So sa P-League nila, syempre may iba-ibang rules yan, di ba? May mga iba-ibang rules silang nakasanayan. Like here in Japan, you're allowed to line up 3 imports, play 2 at the same time. Sa Korea naman, I think you're allowed 2, if not mistaken.
Yeah, 2 imports.
Tapos sa Taiwan naman, hindi ko lang alam kung ano. So different, like in the PBA, you're only allowed 1, except for this league na they had to get another import para to balance everything out. It's basketball, bro. Sanayan din yan eh. Kasi kung ano yung nakasanayan mong brand of basketball, talagang yun yung yun at yun ang ma-represent mo. 'Di ba? So, it was nice to see different brands of basketball all come together in 2 different locations. Tapos talagang parang malaking fiesta siya, bro. Parang malaking talagang paliga na nagbukas na hopefully it's just start, 'di ba? Na ginawa ng EASL for different leagues all over Asia, Eastern Asia to be specific. And dami rin nating nakitang highlights.
From our fellow Filipinos, 'di ba? Si Carl Tamayo. He scored 13 points in 15 minutes yung last game.
Actually si Carl, the first game medyo kinakabahan si Carl against San Miguel. I think he scored 4 points. Tapos 13 points in the second game against Taiwan. And then si Rhenz, I think si Rhenz had a few highlights on his own. And obviously with our Filipino teams na nagrepresent din ng EASL, which leads us into that topic na parang how was that overall experience for our PBA teams?
Siyempre yung mga Filipino fans, tinututukan nila yung progress ng mga Philippine teams. And binabasa ko online, medyo disappointed yung mga fans, siyempre, with the results. And nagkaano pa nga online eh, 'di ba? You have the PBA fans saying na hindi sanay yung PBA players in teams sa rules, which is true, syempre.
Yeah, true.
You've been
playing. It's very hard.
You're playing with 1 import lang, tapos in the middle of the season magdadagdag ka. So, syempre may hirapan. And at the other side of the fence naman, sinasabi ng ibang fans na parang napag-iwanan na daw tayo. So yun yung
left behind daw, something like that.
So yun yung 2 parang narratives na nakikita ko from both fans, just looking at both sides.
Ay siguro from a player's perspective, no. Ako pinapanood ko yung style of play. Hindi ko masyado binibigyan ng pansin yung results. Pero there's really a difference when it comes to the style of play. Tayo mga Pilipino, sanay tayo ng ng ratratan, di ba? Pagalingan, coast to coast, very talent-oriented systems. Pero kasi talented yung mga Filipinong players eh. Di ba?
Of course.
Kaya siya back-upan eh. So, you'll stick to your guns, you'll stick to your strengths. Doon tayo magaling. And yung mga other teams naman, they're also sticking to the strengths, which is, the philosophy of playing together, moving the ball, reading the defense, kicking it out to the open man, extra passes. And let's not take it for granted also the PBA teams, most of their top players, are coming from injuries, coming from the Gila stint. Diba? I'm sure all of those players, hindi sila magbibigay ng excuse. Kasi all of those teams are coming from games as well from their respective leagues. They just took a break, a week's break to play dito sa EASL tournament. So when it comes to, pagod, fatigue, parang patas lang lahat eh. Diba? Kasi lahat naman naglalaro, nagpa-practice for that. And also when it comes to preparation, I'm sure everybody's just been practicing just as much kasi nga ongoing yung mga liga. 'Di ba? Tuloy-tuloy naman yung mga liga nila sa Korea, sa Taiwan, sa Japan, it's also sa Philippines. So, yung disparity doon when it comes to the results, parang hindi mo ma-justify eh. Hindi mo masasabi na pangit din yung nilaro ng mga PBA teams natin ng San Miguel, ng Token Tex. But at the same time, for them, it's also an alarm, it's a wake-up call, di ba? Na parang, okay, so this is not something that works internationally. Obviously, this is just a start of something for EASL. There will be more, di ba? So eventually, there will be other PBA teams who will compete and represent the country for the ESL. Di ba? Kasi kahit anong sabihin mo, pride and glory pa din yan di ba? Ikaw yung best of the best pagdating sa East Asia. Di ba? Kahit anong sabihin mo. So yan ang pinaglalaban mo. So ngayon.
Tsaka bro, yung kahit anong sabihin natin, like sabihin man natin na yung iba kasi sinasabi hindi nila sineryoso. I think sineryoso nila yung games.
I'm sure.
Seryoso yun. Siyempre pride yun.
Hindi pupunta yung mga players doon na petiks laro-laro lang, di ba? Parang if ganun yung inano nila, I'm sure it was so easy to send another team or other players just to pero it's the first. I don't think anybody would want to take it for granted, that opportunity, kasi hindi mo alam kung ano yung mga opportunities na mabukas niyan sa'yo di ba?
Yeah, playing internationally, di ba? Daming scouts,
diba?
daming eyes.
Hindi natin alam. So, like, just a brief run through dito sa nangyari sa ESL with Anyong, KGC topping their bracket 2-0, Ryukyu also 2-0, Taipei was eliminated 0-2, and also SMB 0-2 sila sa bracket nila. The other group, SK Knights sweeping their games 2-0, Bay Area splitting their games 1-1 alongside with Utsunomiya Brex 1-1 as well, and TNT Katropa TNT Tropang Giga with 0-2 on their card. So, tough results for our Filipino teams, for our PBA teams, kasi syempre bilang Pilipino ayaw naman natin na ganyan. Kasi alam natin na kaya talaga natin makipag-compete internationally, lalo na dito pa lang tayo nag-uusap sa Asia side of basketball.
Yes,
Hindi pa world, kaya talaga natin yan. So, like what we said, siguro feeling ko it's a way siguro also of adjusting and developing other playing styles. 'Di ba? Nandun naman yun kaso parang nandun lang tayo sa norm sa nakasanayan natin. I'm sure all our coaches are adjusting. They're learning from different parts of the world, 'di ba, na pinapanood, they're adapting.
Ikaw, Keith, anong tingin mo difference 'di ba, of course you've been playing in the B League for a while now, and you've played in the PBA also. So ano yung parang key differences nung style of play sa Japan?
Style of play. Siguro there's just so much emphasis when it comes to tactical things. Grabe yung detail, going to a game, grabe yung detail na talagang dinidiin sa'yo ng mga coaches sa utak na when it comes to personnel, ano yung strengths and weaknesses ng isang player, ano yung strength and weaknesses ng team nila, who defends the ball screen, how does Junmar defend the ball screen, how does Cam Clark defend the ball screen, different players, yung mga ganung bagay. And that's how the game plan comes around, di ba? Kung ano yung kalaban mo specifically, because hindi naman pare-parehas yan. So that's the tactical differences siguro na ako personally na nakuha ko dito when it comes to back home. I've also played in the PBA and dito sa Japan. So yun siguro, more on the details and the attention to detail, tsaka yung talagang may specific na pinupuntahan, kasi ganun dumipensa yung isang team So yun yung imimilk nila ng imimilk, yun yung gagawin nila, di ba? So tapos talagang pag sinabi yun yung gagawin, yun talaga yung gagawin nila. Bihira talaga yung doing it on the fly, di ba? Parang akin na muna to, yung ganyan, ikaw na muna, ako na muna, ganyan. Obviously, basketball is a sport of talent. There will come a time na people will need to use their talent to make some tough shots, and ganon. And even on the defensive side, I think more on the defensive side, parang especially feeling ko pagkalaban ng other teams yung mga Filipino teams.
Yeah.
They know that we're overloaded with talent when it comes to talent. So pagdating sa loob, it's almost impossible to defend everybody. Diba? Parang it's almost impossible. Let's just say, with San Miguel, with Chris Ross, CJ, Marshall, Import, and Junmar, diba? Parang it's almost impossible to defend when you look at it on court, diba? So yung detail na sinasabi ko is parang ano yung i-give up natin? Parang what do we give up to this team? Hindi natin madedepensahan lahat. Will we give up Junmar on the post? Anyways, lahat yun 2 points lang, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. Will we give up, the mid-range jumpers from Cam Clark, the drives from CJ Perez, the assists of Chris Ross, 3 points ni Marshall? Mamimili ka pick your poison Hindi mo mababantayan lahat. And the detail, dun siya lumalabas. Parang yung teams na kumakalaban sa mga Pinoy teams na nag-represent ng EASL, ng PBA teams, talagang focus sila dun sa isang bagay na gini-give up nila. 'Di ba? So kaya parang hirap na hirap. Parang hirap tayong umano kasi I'm saying na hirap siya kasi ang baba ng scores natin 'di ba? Parang yung isa 66, yung isa 68. 'Di ba?
99 yata yung sa Trop
yung sa
TNT.
Hindi, like yung scores ng PBA teams. 66 sa TNT nung kalaban Utsunomiya, 68 yung San Miguel against UQ, 69 against SK Knights and San Miguel with 87. But it was a big margin. Diba?
Yeah, bro, pansin ko, lahat ng score walang umabot ng 70 except yung last game nung San Miguel versus Anyang. Kasi run and gun siya.
Kasi dito din parang dito din sa Japan, parang yung game palagi sa amin, lagi lang namin sinasabi the game is race to 80. Pag mag-80 ka, malaki na yung chance mo manalo.
Wow.
If you, parang pag malaki na yung chance mo manalo pag makascore ka ng 80 points. It's really a big percentage na you'll win the game pag umabot ka ng 80. And obviously, diba, if you hold your team, you hold the other team down on defense, parang ang dali na manalo, diba? Like, diba, 69 and 66 against, TNT overflowing with firepower, San Miguel overflowing with firepower, parang they were just able to stop something.
Which is unusual, diba? If we're looking at the NBA and PBA, normally high scoring, right? Ini-expect natin na nasa 90 siya, 100 yung scoring.
Usually.
Check ko ngayon yung score sa EuroLeague. Parang hindi siya ganun ka high scoring. Mas similar siya dun sa B-League. Like, Milano won over Olympiacos 83-62. Ganun yung mga scoring nila.
Ganun lang. Ano talaga, lalo na yung Europe, yung style nila when it comes to details. Grabe yan, sobrang tactically driven ng games nila. Kasi the talent level is so high Parang if yung talent level is so high, you can't just fight guns with guns. 'Di ba? Parang kailangan maghanap ka din ng way na paano mo aanuhin to, paano mo aatakihin to, paano mo pahihirapan, 'di ba? Like what I said, basketball is a talent game. Sometimes talagang mananaig, 'di ba? Laging sinasabi better offense against, 'di ba? Great defense but, better offense. Laging sinasabi yan. Which is true, 'di ba? Which is really true. And siguro, nakita natin sa EASL na ano yung difference if you just focus in sa mga bagay, not only tactically, offensively, but also more importantly defensively. 'Di ba? Kahit matapos yung score na 2-0, ikaw lang yung nakashoot, panalo pa rin kayo kung kaya mong gawin yun sa kalaban mo, 'di ba? So I don't see any difference in that with scoring 100 points as long as you win. 'Di ba? Yun ang siguro malaking difference for me nung napanood ko yung mga games kasi malaking bagay do na hindi kompleto yung mga players na dapat na naglalaro, 'di ba? A lot of players missing from the respective teams. Malaking bagay talaga 'yon, 'di ba? Especially like losing for TNT, losing a player like Poy Eram, 'di ba? Not playing there, Jayson Castro not playing there. Also si Junmar getting injured the first 30 seconds of the game.
Sayang nga eh. Sayang si
'Di ba?
Junmar.
So
Parang
parang
I was
hindi mo
expecting na maglalaro
parang
siya.
it's also one side na it's also unfair to really judge what happened, but it's also unfair to say na kaya lang nanalo yung ibang teams kasi kulang. 'Di ba? Gets mo? So we just have to give credit where credit is due. It's a matter of that, and then you learn from what you learn from those games, then just pick it up, go somewhere else, and then bring it back to Manila and play better basketball. I guess that's just about it. Kasi I'm sure with Coach Jojo, Coach Chot, ang dami din nilang natutunan doon with Coach George Gallant of San Miguel, di ba? Ang dami nilang natutunan doon. Tapos pagbalik nila ng
For
Pilipinas,
sure. For
they're
sure.
actually, playing against TNT and SMB is actually scarier kasi dun sa mga natutunan nila dun sa mga bagay na natutunan nila sa EASL, and that's what tournaments like the EASL can offer you more than just the games, diba? It's the opportunity to play against your neighboring countries, show your talent, show your stuff, and see who are the real kings when it comes to basketball dito sa Eastern Asia.
Yeah.
Diba?
And they will get
that,
better, bro.
I'm
DNT, San Miguel.
I'm pretty sure with after this ESL, SMB, TNT, a lot of things na talagang magkukuha nila yun, ma-apply nila pagdating sa PBA, which is just in time because I think, the playoffs is, right across the hall. Malapit na magsimula, di ba? Yung playoffs, pagbalik nila, I think they're just gonna play a few or, 2 or 3 elimination games for them, and then it's the playoff time, and we know TNT and San Miguel, when it comes to playoffs, it's a different team. They're a different team, and you add the experience that they just learned dito sa ESL. Forced to be reckoned with, to be honest.
Yeah, may hirapan yung makakarap nila sa playoffs. For sure. So bro, aside dun sa EASL, speaking of PBA, punta na tayo sa PBA. May mga nangyari recently and gusto ko sanang pag-usapan yung comeback ni Danny I. So what do you think of Danny I's comeback, and nagulat ka ba nung in-announce niya na babalik siya?
Nagulat ako, hindi ko nakita actually. Hindi ko siya nakita. Hindi ko siya na-imagine na living legend. Di ba? Parang after 8 years will come back to play pro. Di ba?
Oh, bro. Naabutan ko si Danny. Medyo late na ako nanood ng PBA, bro. Naabutan ko siya, Petron siya. Ay, Petron Meralco, yeah. Hindi na yung Raise the Roof, sa YouTube ko na lang napapanood yun. So, yeah.
Oo, kasi ako naman, napanood ko live yun. Obviously, pagkalaban ng dad ko, di ba?
Yeah,
napanood ko live lahat yun. Tapos, parang alam mo yung impact na nagawa niya sa basketball, and actually, na nag-retire si Tito Danny, parang sabi ko, when it comes to looking at him physically, parang sana pag nag-retire ako, ganun din yung itsura ko, di ba? Parang
batak.
Parang anytime gusto ko lang maglaro, pwede ako maglaro. Tapos hindi lang siya laro-laro Anytime, sige, feel ko ulit pag PBA. Sige, PBA nga ulit ako. Yung ganun, kasi kaya ng katawan mo. So parang it's a testament of, something like an LA Tenorio, playing 740 plus games consecutively. Just like with Danny I, and I can relate, I can, put that together kasi, Danny I has been retired for 8 years, kept himself in shape, in decent shape. Playing shape, siguro it's a little bit hard, pero in shape that you could actually go out and compete with the young ones. It's grabe. As in, Hindi ako raise the roof doon, as in ganun ako.
Yeah, ganun.
Baliktad. Baliktad doon kay Tito Danny. And, it's a testament to everybody. You guys, if you just stay in shape, work hard, I don't care if you're 24, 34, or 44, parang if you just stay in shape, you can do a lot of things, play basketball and a lot more.
Take care of your body. Alam mo si Jay, di ba matagal siya nawala sa pro basketball? Sinasabi niya sa akin palagi, hinahanap niya yung competition.
There's nothing like it, bro. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I'm sure if you ask 100 other retired players what they miss the most, obviously one will never say practice. One will never say they miss practice. It's there's two things that I would see that a lot of players who retired, it's the competition and the fans, especially sa Pilipinas kasi grabe yung mga fans natin sa Pilipinas. So I feel like those are the two things na talagang magsa-stand out when you put a survey na you ask, retired players, like what do you miss the most? Diba? Na ganon. And nung pagbalik ni Tito Danny, parang grabe lahat kasi everybody was rooting for him eh. Diba? Everybody was
grabe. Through the roof yung engagement sa social media.
Lahat. Kasi lahat. Imagine mo from simula ngayon, kung yung nag-retire si Tito Danny, 8 years, yung mga nag-retire si Tito Danny, mga time na yon siguro yung mga ka-age ko, nasa mga 37, 38 na ngayon. Diba? So parang, tas malalaman mo na naglalaro ulit si Danny ay. Diba? So, parang grabe yun. Parang nag-trend pa talaga siya nun.
Yeah. Bro, walang hateful comment na wala akong nakitang hateful comment.
It was so pure.
Supportive.
It was so pure.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see na every once in a while to see something na wala talagang nag-go against. Na ganon, even though na nag-trend siya. Like, the next one that we'll talk about is something really funny, and then the Allein, Maliksi and Barkley, Ebona show off. I know that Allein just issued a public apology, which is rightfully so. Allein is a guy who's played the game with a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, and a lot of heart. Talagang heat of the moment, hindi niya din siguro napigilan yung sarili niya. Again, not an excuse. Pero, it made ball is life, di ba? Parang, tama ba? Parang umabot siya sa
overtime, pare. Kasi pinost ko siya sa, Hoopjunkie. Yung mga kakilala ko sa overtime eh. So, yun. Shinare nila.
See the Hoopjunkie network where it goes. Pero it made it made it all across the border, all the way there sa stateside, na nalaman nila na may gano'ng incident na it was so crazy. It was just something light na that we could also talk about na sometimes hindi natin maiwasan eh. Kasi like for example, nakikita natin sa mga natatawa din ako minsan sa mga TikTok na napapanood kong basketball, as in talagang kaldagan talaga sila. Parang pader sa pader yung mga nagbabasketball. Parang nagiging highlight siya, bro. Minsan nakikita ko din sa mga posts mo na tinatag ka. Na bukod sa Pinoy step, it's either may Pinoy step na na-post or may isa silang nakaldag na lumipad talaga na malayo.
Hoopjunkie formula yan para mag-viral eh.
Parang, okay, sige. It's either I do a Pinoy step or I really hit somebody hard. Parang gano'n. Pero nakakatawa lang. Like, ako, for me, basketball fan, I support it. I love it. Do you.
Bro, thank you, bro. Thank
you. Do you. And to all the people who sends you videos like that, again, keep doing you guys. Parang nobody will tell you to stop doing it. Just play safe. Then don't intend to hurt anybody. Yun lang. Kasi may mga nakikita tayong videos dyan na iba naman na talagang nananakit naman talaga. So, which is
Iba na yun.
a trigger for a lot of people, di ba? So, yun lang. It's just stay away from that type of basketball that you don't want. Di ba? And when it comes to basketball also, again, in recent news, pagdating sa PBA, very, very high scoring ball game against NLEX and Terra Firma. Wami Chongson scoring 38 points. And Don Trollano scoring 44. Like,
Bro, nagulat ako. Parang nagsascroll ako. Nakita ko lang, Don Trollano, 44.
As in, that's the most quiet 44 points I've ever watched in my life. Parang 44 siya.
9 threes, bro. 9 threes.
8 or 9 straight threes. Something like that. Parang, and then Don, nakita mo si Don
parang Derrick Rose, no? Parang ganun lang.
36, 39, 42, and 1. Okay, another layup, 44. Panalo. walang emotion eh. Parang, which is, for me, parang, sa kabilang side, nakakainis na parang, hindi ba to, parang, alam mo yun, wala akong makuha motivation, ganyan ka, sige, babawian kita. Hindi, parang, ano ba yan? Parang, saan ako kukuha ng pambawi? Saan ako kukuha ng pambawi, di ba? So,
ganun talaga si Don, bro.
Ganun talaga si Don. I was fortunate enough to play with Don before I left NLEX. Sobrang grabe. As in, saludo sa taong yun. Tahimik lang pagdating sa practice, pagdating sa lahat ng bagay, sobrang tahimik niya lang. Walang reklamo, just does his job, comes into the office, works, does his own thing. Tapos, pagdating sa laro, di mo kailangan bigyan ng bola, he'll find a way to get the ball. And actually, with that, you'll find a way to get him the ball because he's been scoring in all ways possible. So, sobrang solid niyang kakampi. I was really happy for him, scoring 44 points. He's a best player of the conference candidate. You know, in my eyes, in my books, I hope he makes it, especially now that the Road Warriors are in the playoffs. I hope that they make it long enough to actually people to, you know, notice how Don is playing. Parang yun yung mga players na kailangan manotice ng tao.
Tingin ko, very underrated player. Very underrated.
Sobra talaga. You know, nothing flashy kasi parang nothing that would actually make you jump out of your seat na parang yung nakita nga natin sa highlights, diba? 44 points. 44 points. Sino? Don Trollano. What? Don Trollano.
Magugulat ka na lang.
Diba? Kasi hindi mo mapapansin, diba? Parang, and a shout out also to my guy, Kevin Alas, who's been playing outstanding for the Road Warriors. You know, he had a 31-point game and then backed it up with a 28-point game, something like that. You know, he's one of my bestest friends. So, you know, just shout out to him. And like what we talked about being in the stateside, now we shift our attention to the NBA. Not so recently concluded trade deadline, but a lot of it was a busy trade deadline for the league. One of the most
historic, bro. Historic
trade deadlines in recent memory, siguro, for the league. You know, Russell Westbrook getting traded, Kevin Durant leaving Brooklyn. Kyrie moving to Dallas, you know, things like that. Yung iba, hindi man umabot ng trade deadline, pero, you know, everybody had to move one way or another. Free agents signing here and there. Contracts being bought up.
On a wave. Buyout market.
You know, buyout. Kumbaga, yung ad drop ng players was just so easy when it comes to the trade deadline. And it was fun to be a spectator in that kind of scale, no? Na ang laki talaga na nangyayari kasi talagang yung moves was really league-changing, di ba? Parang like what we talked about, KD moving into an already potent Phoenix Suns. Dadagdagan mo pa ng Kevin Durant. Now they have CP, D-Book, DeAndre Ayton, and then now you got KD. Obviously, Mikal Bridges was a big part of that core crew. Pero something had to happen, and it felt like, is Danny Ainge still part of the Suns? Or no na, somebody else na ata.
Wala, sa Utah yata si Danny Ainge.
Parang wala na ata si
Si
Danny
James
Ainge.
Jones, bro, sa
Tama.
Cavs. Siya yung GM ngayon.
Ng Phoenix, di ba?
Phoenix.
And I think siya yung General Manager of the Year, something like that. Nanalo siya ng award. Reigning, or siya yung top candidate ngayon.
Yung Suns kasi, bro, before, yung owner daw, hindi siya ganun ka-keen mag-spend. Ngayon may bago ng owner, parang let
okay.
the chips
Which
fall
makes
where
sense.
they may.
Which makes sense in really making a move towards the playoffs, and it's really strong. That move is really strong. It was a power move by the Suns organization. Right now siguro it's all about health. That's the question naman palagi sa Phoenix eh. Every time it's either, CP getting hurt when it counts the most, KD just coming off an injury that he was sidelined for like what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, when he was still with Brooklyn. But when they're healthy, I don't see them not playing in the Western Conference Finals. For a championship, strong case, but I think the Western Conference Finals is a shoe-in for them. It's just a matter of waiting who they're gonna face for this season. Ikaw, ano tingin mo doon?
Obviously getting KD, bro, parang ganun kataas yung level of talent ng Suns, bro. And tingin ko it will depend sa health ng players. If KD will get to play with the core, yun yung problem sa Brooklyn, hindi sila nagkasabay-sabay. They
Wala
have
talaga.
Kyrie, James, and I think they only play a few games together, yung tatlo.
Like less than 20 pa ata.
So it's important before the playoffs na they get their chemistry on hand, and
True. Just like with any other strong super team, 'di ba? Kahit ano super team mo, if your guys are not available to play, I don't really see where you get the name super team, 'di ba? So, yun naman yung kinalakasan nung Miami before, Dwayne, LeBron, and Chris Bosh was always available during that time
that time, yeah.
na naglalaro sila, 'di ba, nung nasa Miami pa sila. And also when it comes to the Spurs, 'di ba, Manu, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan, they were always available. They would sit out only the games, when they're already sure when it comes to the playoffs, 'di ba? Yung mga ganyang bagay. So, yeah, and then another take na pwede nating discuss is, when it comes to the NBA, parang ang daming opinions talaga ng iba't ibang tao eh.
Miso, bro.
And also, not only the fans, but the people inside. You got the inside the NBA, you got the TNT crew, you got the ESPN crew, everybody, and most of them are actually players who played in the NBA. Some of them won championships in the NBA. So when it comes to opinions, it's opinions that matter. Kasi alam nila yung pinag-uusapan nila. And one interesting topic that just recently came to our attention was how Kendrick Perkins, na I think it was with Stephen A, na sinasabi niya na basically he was accusing Jokic of stat padding. Stat padding sa lahat is yung sinasadya mo yung mga stats mo. That's, for all our viewers, to increase your stats when it comes to assists, points, rebounds, and everything. So he's accusing Jokic of stat padding, which is highly unlikely, is because when you think about how Jokic plays, ever since he entered the NBA, he was always complete when it comes to his stats. Parang, guess mo? Parang, di ba? It's not as if na there's this one game na, or 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons na he would average 3 assists, and then on the 4th season, he would be conscious na pinapataas siya talaga yung assist niya. So parang I don't get the argument na parang nagsa-stat pad siya na sinasadya niya just because he wants to average something like this. It's not as if that he never averaged something like that. Diba?
Yeah.
Parang
Nung bago si Jokic, bro, yung mga nerds sa basketball, sa Reddit, pinag-uusapan namin yung dati na may rookie sa Denver. Grabe yung per 48 minutes niya. So, parang may isang guy na hinahype si Jokic. And yun nga, nagkatotoo bro, na
diba?
talagang hooper talaga.
As in, ganun talaga. And actually, kung titingnan mo naman, yung stats niya is hindi naman siya yung tipong 17, 18, 19 assists. Yung mga ganyan, he would make his triple-double. Makikita mo yung triple-double niya, 20, 12, and 10. Diba? Parang, there will be games na parang 38, 14, and 12 yung mga ganyan. Pero, like, if you have the ball, 90% of the offense, which happens to him in Denver, 80, 90% of the time, you're bound to make at least 10 assists in a league where they allow assists how many dribbles after you make the shot, diba? Or catch and shoots, things like that. And sa kay Kendrick Perkins pa nga, parang sinasabi niya na ina-accuse niya pa yung mga teammates ni Jokic, diba? Na kahit daw good or bad shot, pag si Jokic ang pumasa, tinitira na nila agad. Kasi para sa assist
L-take talaga yan si Perk dyan.
Parang,
yeah.
Oo, di ba? Na parang sabi ko, siguro pag pinasahan mo si Michael Porter Jr., baka maisip ko. Di ba? Pero other than that, I don't think so. I would go against that argument of Perk stat padding when it comes to Jokic. That's just how he plays. He plays the game completely, like what you said. Even though he was a rookie, a sophomore, he probably had one of the highest. He has the highest per 48
the history,
diba, when it comes to playing, and it's not because he's stat pads, that's just how the guy plays, diba? That's just how the guy plays. And
minsan na magugulat ka na lang, bro, first quarter triple double na siya. Alam mo yun, parang
natural niyang
natural
nagagawa.
sa kanya.
Hindi niya hinahanap, and which leads him to being a back-to-back MVP. We're not just as us not being surprised with how he plays. We're not surprised that he's won back-to-back MVP, and he's on the verge of, he's one of the front runners again for a third straight MVP, depending on how Denver performs and how he performs, obviously, and how his counterparts perform with Jayson Tatum, Joel Embiid, Luka, those guys. So yeah, I mean, it's a good race to the MVP. It's gonna boil down to Joel, Jayson, and Jokic on the three guys who would go against the MVP. Pero
bro, may tanong ako. If the NBA season ends now, para sa'yo, sino yung MVP?
Para sa akin, sino MVP? Shucks. Right now, I gotta
right now.
Feeling ko Jayson Tatum ako, bro.
I like it. Jayson Tatum, yeah.
Kung ngayon lang parang Jayson Tatum ako ngayon, bro. Parang iba yung level ng nilalaro ni Jayson Tatum ngayon Parang it's really hard to argue na gano'n kasi kompleto din yung laro niya talaga Parang he's really standing out in Boston, and not only that, they're winning. Diba? So that's the most important thing.
Key criteria yun, bro.
Diba? You're playing well and you're winning. Diba? It's just, that's tough to do. It's tough to do kasi parang when it comes to MVP, you stand out offensively. So it means that some way, somehow, the team will feel it. But with the philosophy of Boston and the culture that they have, they don't. Kasi they're winning and they've been competing, diba? There were questions in the offseason, the trade deadline. Can Jayson Tatum play alongside Jaylen Brown? Can they
coexist?
Diba? Can they both have, the piece of the pie when it comes to their offense? But, they're showing that they can. Both are all-stars. Diba? Both are all-stars in their own right. So I feel like in the East, the Boston's always going to be one of the strongest competitors with Giannis in Milwaukee and Miami. With that, heat culture that they always project. Pero it's gonna be fun.
Sixers, bro, they're
Philadelphia's,
yeah.
The Phillies always gonna be there. And again, when it comes to the playoffs, it's always about health. That's the big thing when it comes to the playoffs. Whoever is the healthiest and can survive the 7-game series from start to finish, yun ang mananalo. Yes, and with that, I feel like that's how we should wrap our first BasketBros
Buena mano
episode. We'll find ways to make this more interesting for you guys. Sa lahat ng mga viewers na makakanood nito, just comment in na kung ano yung gusto nyong pag-usapan sa next episode natin. We'll try to accommodate everybody. We'll bring in different guests sa mga episodes natin. Could actually add to our ways of basketball conversations, no? So hopefully you guys can subscribe and tune in our podcast, BasketBros, where basketball minds just coming together, discuss and elaborate on the things and basically the sport that we love, di ba?
Yeah, chill na usapan. Like we can have fans na mag-guest din, di ba? Para
di ba? Pwede yan.
Actually, it's Kiefer who suggested that. That's a nice idea.
So marami tayong fans sa Hoopjunkie, tulad nga yung mga nagsasubmit ng mga videos nila, di ba? Parang pwede natin silang kausapin dito. Siguro yung parang tipo, can you take me through that moment? Yung mga ganung bagay. Yung mga ganung bagay. But we'll figure it out along the way, yung anong magagawa natin. But again, bro, appreciate it. Parang buti natuloy na tayo.
It's been a pleasure, bro.
First of many podcasts that we have. This is just episode 1 of BasketBros. So hopefully you guys can tune in on our launch premiere or whatever you want to call it sa episode namin. And then sa mga susunod pang episode, sana tunghayan yun. Yeah. So this has been Kiefer, Hoopjunkie. Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Hope everybody have a good night.
There is one thing you can doubt, and that's my name and game.
So chase your dreams, young baller. Boss up, man.